Alright, the project at hand right now is with this trailer. Quick history on this trailer. I made this in 2007, so that's 12 years ago now, and it's been a very good trailer, but every once in a while I got to do a little bit of maintenance to it and repairs and upkeep. But right now it needs a few little things. One thing that's broken is the hinge on this one ramp broke, and I've been using it like this, but that needs to be fixed. That's no big deal. And another thing that's broken on it is the front jack. I remember I took it off-road, and it was when the truck needed leaf springs and it was sitting kind of low, and the jack hit something and bent it. So I just need to straighten that out and weld it. And the other thing I want to do is I want to address the lights. So one issue I've always kind of had is with trailer lights on everything. So when I initially put the lights on this thing, I wanted to do it so they would last. So I put these metal ones on there. So let me go over a few different types of trailer lights. So let's go over to this other trailer over here. Okay, so this trailer I picked up this year, and it's a little bit better for moving equipment, but it needs some attention right now. It just needs to be fixed. It's not usable. But the trailer lights on it. So it's got these lights here. Now these lights, those are garbage. Now I know they meet the DOT requirements or whatever, but they shouldn't. The problem with those lights is that they get smashed all the time instantly, and they're so delicate you don't even know how they get smashed. They're just always broken. Alright, so we'll go over to this trailer here. Now the other type of trailer lights that constantly get smashed are these ones. Every time I look at a trailer with these lights on it, they're smashed, and you have no idea how it happened. And they're cheap, but it's the amount of these lights I've changed, it's just pointless. They shouldn't sell these anymore. These are just garbage. So when I put the lights on this, I didn't want the lights to constantly be smashed for no reason. So I put these metal lights on it. Now, these ones are better. They still get smashed, but I at least always know how it happened. You usually got to hit something for these to get smashed. But the thing that does happen to these is these ones, they completely rust out. And I don't even take this trailer out in assault, but the bulbs inside lose contact, and then the whole thing just rusts up and falls off. And it happens in like 3 to 4 years. So really, those lights shouldn't be sold anymore either. They're garbage. The lights that I found that actually stay working are this type of light, where it's plugged into like an oval or a circle with a rubber grommet. They're nice because they don't rust up. They don't get smashed because they don't stick out. When they do break, it's easy to change them because you don't need any tools. So let me install matching lights on this whole trailer. I'm going to ditch all those lights. Those are just garbage. And my tail lights on this side, these are still working, but they don't match that side. And trailer lighting deserves its own video by itself. But all right, let's get this thing in the garage and get it fixed up. I could just replace this. I've changed these before, but that's not bad. This gray coating is called galvanizing. Don't breathe the smoke from this. All right, so this got pushed back, so I figure I'll just bend it forward again. All right, it took a minute, but I got the thing perfect on both axes. All right, that's fixed. Yeah, this is plenty high up off the ground now. The problem was this truck had some broken springs and it was sitting too low, and I went over like this steep hill and it caught. But now I welded that stronger than it was, so I doubt that will ever be a problem again. That's no big deal. Just gotta take some extra metal out of this. All right, that looks pretty good. I just got to do that 3 more times. I set this up so it could either go here or here. My Komatsu really needs the ramp there. Even the wider stuff though, when the ramp is here, it's okay. The only time the ramp needs to be in this wider position is for like trucks to be on this trailer. All right, looks pretty good. Let's address these lights now. All right, yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so I know these didn't turn out. I mean, that's good enough for what I'm doing. They sell machines that what that plasma cutter could go into, and they would cut these out absolutely perfect. You know, I'm kind of tempted to get one of those because, you know, then I could make pieces like this, you know, nice enough to like sell them, or nice enough to, you know, if it needed to be perfectly accurate, it could do that. The way this works, this rubber grommet goes in there and hides these edges anyway, and plus these get welded, so that you won't even see that. But all right, let's get these installed. That's the only way to make electrical connections, soldered with shrink tube. All right, I got a few more to do now. All right, so I was questioning changing the rest of these because this is falling under the don't fix it if it's not broken category, but look at this light. See, that's how these are with those bulbs. It's like, you know, they're intermittent. It's junk. All right, let's get these out of here. All right, so another thing this trailer is supposed to have, since it's over 80 inches wide, it's supposed to have 3 clearance lights in the center here. The reason it's never had them is because I have this center hitch here, and it was just kind of hard to find a spot to mount them where they won't just get smashed instantly. But I think I have a plan. To protect these lights even further, I want to add a piece of metal like this in the bottom so they're not sticking out. All right, so if I just left the wires sticking out like that, they would just get smashed instantly. All right, so what I cut out this piece of pipe like that. I'll weld that right there. That way the wires won't get broken when the back of the trailer hits the ground. All right, this is what I did here. Nice and clean looking. All right, that looks nice. Those are pretty bright too. All right, and I just added these front clearance lights as well on both sides because the old lights that were on this thing, you could see them like 180 degrees. These new ones, look how once you get to the front of the trailer, I couldn't see it, so figured that was a good idea. All right, well, lights are all done on this thing. Let's pull it outside and wash and paint it. All right, so unrelated to the trailer, I was working on the truck, had a tail light out. It's not the bulb, not the fuse. All right, so as soon as I get under the truck, first thing I see, one of these things. I didn't do that, but all right, let's fix that right. This is where we're at. I thought it was that thing. I found it right there. See that broken wire? All it takes, one little nick, and the wire breaks. Look at that. All right, these are going to be hard to solder because they're corroded. They should really use marine grade wires on automotive because it's, you know, I mean, the wire is a lot more money. Like if you go to an auto parts store and buy a wire, or go to a marina and buy a wire, the marina is way more expensive. But so you think, oh, they're overcharging, but no, they're not. The marine wire is much higher quality stuff.
the marine wire doesn't get corroded so easily because it's meant to be in salt water. But really, cars should be built the same way because they're in salt the whole time too. You know, I was just working on that wave runner over there. Every bolt you touch on the thing comes right out, and it's brand new shiny bolt. That's because they're stainless steel. Try to take a bolt out of this truck, it's impossible. You gotta melt them off with a torch and just put new bolts in. Alright, nice, that's fixed. That wasn't too bad. Sometimes it's hard to find broken wires like that, but in this case I had, you know, this light was out, but this was on and that was on, and plus the trailer light connector worked. So I wouldn't have spent forever looking for that. I just would have pulled power from somewhere else to make it work. That's kind of the rule when I've been fixing electrical problems on this truck. If I can't fix the factory wiring pretty quick, I'll just run new wires. This is the wrong type of tire. This is a light truck tire, and I'll just make this my spare. This is a trailer tire here. So reverse threads on this thing.
Alright, so that's good. The trailer, I just finished up the service on it. So that's nice. Everything's fixed on it, and then touching up the paint, the thing looks like new again. So the biggest thing I did here was kind of fixing these lights. I'm hoping now, with this style light installed, that they're not constantly broken every time I look at the trailer. Being that I don't think they'll have any corrosion issues, or I don't think they'll get smashed either, and even when they do break, they're a lot easier to change. Alright, so since this video was completely about servicing this trailer, let's just go back and look at some old photos of when I was making it and some of the first trips I took towing this trailer. Alright, these pictures are from 2007, that's 12 years ago now, and they are of making this trailer. And there's a 1-year-old Levi right there. So there's the fenders all done. And there's making the ramps that we just fixed in the video. And here it is painted. This was the rusty metal primer and then the clean metal primer. And I ended up redoing some of this stuff, like these old ramp catches. That didn't last that long. That didn't work very well. Having the chain just going from here to here works much better. And there it is with the black paint. And then this tail light, that lasted a couple years like that, but I kept smashing those. And then to make sure I didn't miss a single spot painting it, I brought it outside and used my Jeep with the winch to flip the thing on its side. But the paint has held up pretty well. That trailer really doesn't have any rust on it. So there it is, brand new deck, everything looking new. All brand new chains and binders. And this is the first time I'm doing this trailer, and I was bringing a load of scrap metal to the scrap yard. So this car, was junk, had no wheels on it, completely rotted out. I used the winch and pulled it up onto the trailer. But I had to make some changes immediately. The first problem I had, you can see even in this picture, how it was catching on all these things because the car had no wheels on it. And see how it bent them? So I eventually put the diamond plate on there pretty quick. When I first finished this trailer, I never had the right vehicle to really tow it initially. Really, the right thing to tow that trailer is like a 3/4 ton pickup truck because it can actually tow the amount of weight. But I had this Jeep, and I put the brake controller in it, so the brakes work really nice on the trailer. And that Jeep with that 4-liter engine had pretty good power. I figured I could still tow it with the Jeep, I just couldn't load it up as heavy as the trailer could actually carry. But then in 2007, scrap metal, the value of it went up quite a bit because of economics or the gas prices or something. And there was a lot of scrap metal around. So that was in my friend's backyard at his grandma's house, and she was happy to have that cleaned up. And that's how it ended up on the trailer. And then that was at his other house. They had that junk car. And then there was, cars abandoned in the woods. And then this was an interesting load here because there was that car, but then there was all these engines and stuff laying around. So, I didn't have an excavator or anything at the time. That would have made loading this up a lot easier. But like that, that engine block and transmission, that's too heavy to pick up by hand. So what I did, you can see it good on this side. This was like a Volkswagen engine. I used the winch here and then would put pulleys up in trees or pulleys and just pull things all different directions. And a lot of the stuff I'd go after, it was the hard stuff that a lot of guys wouldn't even attempt to bring like a rollback truck to. But, like here's a burned out Volkswagen. And you can see that was like a 4-wheeler trail. And then loading that on the trailer, it ended up like that. This was a car at my friend's house. There's at the scrapyard. And this one was funny. This was a Bronco too, and it was my friend's Bronco. And we were in this quarry, and the motor stopped running in the thing. And he was like, "Oh, this thing's junk. Forget about this thing." And we dragged it up this hill with this 4-wheeler, some guy's 4-wheeler that was there, and we pushed the thing off a cliff. I wish that was on video because that was a pretty big cliff to push the car off of. And the guy with the quarry was pissed about this car that ended up, off a cliff. And then we went back. I went back and got it a couple years later. And here it is at the scrapyard. That was another Jeep too, and I can't believe how crumpled up they get winching them on the trailer. That was like a full Jeep. So then I finally got the proper vehicle to tow that trailer. I got this 96 F250, and the Jeep did a pretty good job towing the trailer, but when the trailer was loaded heavy, it was a bit much for the Jeep, and you really had to drive the thing accordingly. The Jeep's rated to tow like 5,000 pounds, and the trailer weighs like 2,300 with nothing on it. So it was really easy to get over that 5,000 pounds, but it would still do it. You just had to know how to drive the thing. But this F250, it didn't matter how much weight was on the trailer then. That towed it so much better. So here was a car. I was in the fire department for a while, and they were always looking for cars, to practice cutting them up for training. So I'm like, oh, I'll bring a car in. Let me simulate an accident first, though. So I take this. It was like a Toyota, and I take the thing, I flip it on its side and crash into the roof a bunch of times and completely cave the roof in. And I put some mannequins in it, and then I brought it to the firehouse like that. And it was just so crumpled up. It was pretty funny. I didn't take pictures of everything, but in the 12 years I've had this trailer, I've gotten so much work out of it. It was great using it for scrap metal when scrap was high, and then once I started buying equipment, really this trailer is the thing that brought all my pieces of equipment home and brings them to jobs. So building this trailer has definitely been very well worth it. So, I mean, if you're looking at building one, though, it's kind of. I was doing that to save money, but then I still ended up putting like $2,000 into this, and you could buy a new one. I think they're like $3,500 to buy one like this, and the amount of time I put into it, it's hard to recommend building one. But the nice thing about building it, I was able to do it the way I wanted. I mean, you could buy one and modify it, but things I built on this, I put the thing here for the winch. The whole thing is up pretty high. I painted it well. All the wiring was routed well so it wouldn't get ripped off-road. I put the other hitch on the back so the winch could go there, or if I need to tow double trailers and make a train, I could do that. And plus, building it myself, it was a lot of good, practice doing metal work. And at the time, this was the biggest project I had ever done, welding-wise. So that was neat to just kind of take on bigger and bigger projects.